Vim windows give you the ability to open multiple panes for multiple text editors that can have the same file open and viewing different parts of the same file, or have 2 different or 3 or 4 different files open at once. So let's take a look. Most Vim window controls begin with a sort of a leader key of Control W to say, hey, I'm about to make a window control command. And the first that we'll look at is we can split a window vertically with that leader, Control W, followed by the V key for vertical split. So I'm going to be in a C project here. And if I open up my main file in Vim, I can try this out. I can say Control W followed by V for a vertical split. And you'll see that we've just created a vertical split here. And by default, Vim will open the same text file here. Right? We'll look at how we can change the open text file in just a moment. Now, if I wanted to close one of these panes, we can use the same exit commands that we've used before. So capital ZQ to quit without a read, or capital ZZ to quit one of those panes with a read. Now, there's another way of splitting, which is horizontal splitting. And with a larger screen than you're seeing here, because my text is really big, this can be handy, especially for short files. So Control W is the leader, and then S is for the split horizontally. And here we see that we are in a separate split, and we've got the same file open in both. So you might be wondering, how did I move my cursor between these 2 windows? Well, the easiest way when you only have 2 open is just Control WW, right? Control WW switches between them, and this toggles back and forth, right? I'm going to close one of these and open up another split. So Control W and V for vertical, and then Control W, W to switch between those as well. Now, when you have more than one open or more than one split going on, so for example, I could have a vertical split here as well. So let's add a split there. And now you can see that we're cycling through. But when you have more than one pane like this that's available to you, it often makes sense to move directionally. And to do this, you would use the same directional keys you're used to using in Vim. So Control W, and then J would move me down. Control W, and then K would move me up. Control W, H, left. Control W, L, right. And so we can move around our panes in the directions that we want to go using those same directional keys that we're used to using. All right. And so that's how you can move around in these windows. Well, how about, what if we wanted to edit a different file? So in this example, we've got our main file. And if I have my cursor in this pane and I want to open over here, I can press Control O to open up this is a plugin called Nerd Tree. And I can use my arrow directionals to go to source and say open the copy C, right? And press Control O again to close that previous file. And so now I've got 2 files open side by side. If you don't want to use that sidebar to open files, there's also a special command if you press :E for edit. If I want to edit my source main.c file here, we can see that you can use :E followed by the path of the file that you're trying to edit to open a file that way. Right? So we looked at Control W followed by S to split the window horizontally and have a top-bottom panes. We can use Control W followed by W to cycle between our windows, and then the directional arrows to move us around in them. And lastly, Control O will open the File Explorer. This becomes very helpful when you are working on, say, a header file and a C source file, or a main file, and then want to look at the documentation in some header file you're using, and having 2 files open on the same screen at once is very valuable. We've also taken a look at tmux earlier, and you may be wondering, when should I use 2 panes of tmux versus 2 panes of Vim? And the short answer is, if you have more than one editor you want to open, you should probably do that within Vim. But if you want to have an editor and a terminal open, using tmux for that purpose is encouraged.